The final ending of the encore. I'm getting there. I'm just being honest with what my feelings are. It's kind of therapeutic for me to type it out, and the feedback I get helps a ton too. Papers are signed and being filed tomorrow. Louisiana divorce law is screwed. I've met with 2 lawyers and I don't have much leg to stand on. The I don't want anything was early on before I was recording convos. I doubt that verbal would have mattered anyway. Definitely documenting everything now. Unless I have video of them screwing, I can't even get an adultery divorce unless they would both testify, even though I have her on tape admitting to something going on for the last 4 weeks and her having feelings for him. She's entitled to CS no matter what, so we agreed upon what is in the state tables, with $600 per month spousal support. Custody split 50-50. Going sign the docs with lawyer later this week. Had a lengthy convo with a good PI and he said you basically need visual evidence of them sleeping together. Even having video of them going into a hotel, business, and coming out hours later is not sufficient. It's crazy. That, or they would both have to testify in court that the affair happened, which she said she wouldn't do. I'm actually starting to wonder if there are drugs involved. She never did meds during our marriage, outside of MJ, but she literally emailed me 3 times last night between the 3:38 a.m. and 5:30 a.m. And she was up at 8 because she texted me. That isn't normal behavior. It's very possible she was on the phone with the guy because that's what the phone records showed, long late-night conversation. But I'm starting to wonder if there is something else at play. I really have done 180 outside of talking about kids, settlement. Here's the thing, from a financial perspective I have to decide whether the cost of a trial or PI is worth it. As it stands now I have to pay child support $1,000 per month, regardless of proven infidelity. She's asking for his $600 per month in spousal support. So, if we can agree to spousal support until divorce is final, that puts me about $72,000 in the hole. Or I could spend a couple thousand on PI and not get guaranteed results, then hire a lawyer to do what you said above. I'm thinking the costs of those court fees could easily surpass the $72,000. I don't see it being less than that for legal representation in that regard. Am I off there? All that to prove adultery and get me off from paying alimony. It's either a wash or I'd come out slightly to moderately ahead just paying the $600 a month and leaving it be. Also, time lost to having to appear in court and all that jazz. Am I off in that thinking? So, I've been stuck home with lockdown all week, with the kids. We were going to wait until my symptoms died down before the wife took the kids. She talked to my daughter on the phone last night and said she was praying for Dad. She called me this morning basically begging to let her bring some medicine, food, drinks to me and I told her I was good. It's like she doesn't even begin to grasp the level of pain she has caused me. Of course, I haven't shown her that, but you think I want to see you any more than I have to. You haven't given one single crap about my feelings, well-being the last 2 months and now you're concerned. Then her mom and sister texted me asking how I was doing. They can all screw the right off. Then pretty quiet. I think there's been the first crap in her armor. The timing was really strange. I was having a rough night Monday, just alone in the house as she has the kids this week. I was just sitting in my daughter's bed thinking about the way things were, being sad, etc. Well, around 10 p.m. not long after that my wife texts a screenshot of an argument we had about 2 weeks before D-Day. She says, "Do you remember that convo? Can you believe it's been 2 months already?" Like I said, she must have had a sixth sense because I was most vulnerable at that time and obliged her in the conversation and responded, instead of ignoring her. I told her I did and I had gone back to it several times, as I feel that was the tipping point. Then she says just wanted to say sorry for everything. I'm sorry for betraying you and hurting you, and I hate watching you suffer like this. I know she's confused and upset. My heart is broken for her. I asked why she was looking at that conversation. I don't know. Just trying to find the moment that was my tipping point, I guess. I basically just tell her yeah, and we never even talked about it, so I'm sure resentment built up. She agreed. Then she said just still in disbelief about everything. Like I'm in a bad dream. I left it alone and didn't respond after that. We haven't talked about it since, just kids talk this week. I guess she's trying to figure out what caused her to finally say screw it and pursue something like that. Who knows, doesn't matter. She didn't bring up getting back together though. Hasn't once mentioned that. I think she was just saying that stuff to feel me out and bait me into saying something. I haven't brought it up. Side note, papers are officially filed today. She had to go sign the paperwork to confirm. She already tried that a few weeks back. Can we do things with the kids together? I said, sure, I'm sure I'll see you at school functions. Then she was like no, intentional like dinner, and I just told her no. She was just texting me that crap. She was just playing the sob story of feeling bad for the kids. Really, the only thing I want to ask her about is her text last week feels like a nightmare can't wake up from. The more I think about that, the more it pisses me off. I didn't respond to it at the time. That's basically the last non-kids message we had. But, like, this is what she wanted. She is getting everything she wanted, but it's a nightmare for her. Please switch shoes with me for one day and see what a nightmare is. I won't, but I really want to find out what she meant by that. I have no idea if she was just throwing bait out there but is too prideful to ask about When I go back and think about things at the beginning, I just get so pissed at myself. I could have easily checked the phone records from the very get-go and knew everything that was happening. When I first told my parents, my dad's first question was, "Is there another guy at work?" I said that is the last thing I would expect it to be. Man, I was so foolish. My wife hated cheaters. I just never expected that. So, I spent the first few weeks actually helping her find a place and booking the logistics of her retreat to help herself. It's so pathetic. All the while she's having thousands of minutes of phone conversations with this guy. I hate that I was so gullible and was just used and manipulated so easily, but you never expect that from your wife and best friend, so I guess it's not something on your radar. Talk to my wife's sister's husband today. Him and the sister have zero clue on what's going on. All they know is we are separated. I said, boy, do I have a lot to tell you. I really want to type up an email and expose her to all family, but I have to tread lightly so that these divorce negotiations smoothly. Blows my mind that she hasn't told her sister anything. It shouldn't, but they're a pretty close family. Was just doing some more thinking today. I really should get out of my head, but hopefully this helps someone that stumbles upon this thread. I'm not even sure if I mentioned this in Opus, but a couple weeks after the wife left me, I noticed she had her ring off and I brought it up. She gave me some BS about fixing things with her or whatever. It didn't make any sense. Point being, after that, I still was nice to her, supported and helped her plan her trauma recovery retreat. I was a total nice guy. Lord, I was in such a shock-induced fog I could not see anything clearly. The minute I saw the ring off, I should have laid the ultimatum there. This was before I knew about the AP. At the least, it should have alerted me to the possibility of there being an AP. Still, it didn't cross my mind. I really found out about AP by accident, although I suppose I would have gotten curious at some point. No ring is just the ultimate slap in the face. It should have been very clear at that point. The hopium was strong in me. It really induces a crap ton of rage in me. She lied, manipulated, abandoned her kids for a month, took advantage of my generosity, all because she wants her freedom. How the hell is it free if you are going to come after me for child support and spousal support after it's all said and done? You want freedom from me, but not my money, is that right? Want to know something else she did recently? Part of her biggest resentments towards me during our marriage was after taking a 5-year hiatus from work to stay home with kids, she started working in this January. Well, she wanted to donate 10% off her earnings. I did not agree with this and we compromised at 5. Anyway, apparently, she never got over this and was one of her reasonings for leaving, whatever. Well, last week I got a notice of receiving $400 in Cash App from her. I texted her and asked what that was for. She says, "Oh, I used a check from our joint act to give 10% of my recent commission to X charity." So, 2 things. You are claiming you can barely make ends meet and need spousal support for that, yet you are giving away 10% off your money. That chaps my hide, should it? Secondly, the charity is a charity that supports parents of babies, toddlers that have passed too early. A niece of mine passed away at 9 months old, so my family is close with the charity. When that particular charity receives donations, they inform the parents of the kid the donation is placed under. So, my sister and her husband got a notice that my wife made a donation. I mean, great that the charity is receiving a donation, but it just seems very calculated that she would choose that one. Almost as to just try and get on my sister's good side, but it's probably more for herself to make her feel better about herself after all this. That was a mistake. She caught me at the worst possible time as I was having a bad night. Has been hard 180 ever since. I have to tread lightly. In my state, woman holds all the power in divorce negotiations. If she takes me to court, I probably owe $12 per a month just in spousal support, and she has agreed on $600 per a month. So, I need to wait until that is in writing before I ruffle the bed too much with exposure. Her mom, one of her sisters, and her nanny knows for sure. New text this morning at 6 a.m. Seeing the kids only half of the time is killing me. I'm sure you feel the same way. I'm sorry for that. Then a few minutes later, I'm sorry for betraying your trust. I'm sorry for everything. I'm not really sure what sort of response she's looking for. Similar message to what she sent last week. Is she just wanting to hear I forgive you for her peace of mind? 2 weeks in a row of unresponsive messages about being sorry. And now with the only seeing kids half the time. Kind of seems like she is hinting at getting back together but doesn't want to come out and say it. It's getting better. In no way am I ready to begin dating, but I created a dating profile just to look at what's out there, past the time when I get bored, and man does the landscape look good. She left me for this guy. Just another guy with a good game. Nothing to back it up, though. Yeah, he just started in January, same time my wife started. His GF told me he made no money and hasn't made any the last few years and that she supported him. Bit of a 180 timer reset yet again. This one was a bit out of my hands. Yesterday was my kid's first day of kindergarten. Well, due to lockdown you can only drop your kid off, can't get out of vehicle. My WW has the kids this week, so I had to make a decision to meet up with them to ride and drop my daughter off. I could not miss her first day of school for the world. So, I rode with them to the school, gave her a hug and comforted her as she was crying while getting out of the car. I really didn't say much to the WW other than a few things about the kids. I then went to her place after work to talk to my daughter about her first day. I realize I could have done this from phone, but it's just a big moment and I wanted to be there for her. Again, no talk amongst me and WW. Fast forward to this morning 6 a.m. I wake up and I have a couple of texts from WW she sent at 5 a.m. I can't do this anymore. Told me she thinks I don't love her anymore. She's been acting out so much. She hated me for this. I can't do this to her anymore. It's breaking my heart. She has so much anger and anxiety and it's my fault. I simply responded, can't do what anymore. She never answered. I called her around noon to find out what she means by that, and she honestly didn't really give an answer. It was basically, don't worry about it, I'll figure it out. Then she just spoke about some things our daughter told her. I'm just sitting there like I'm really not sure what you want me to say, do. Anyways, we ended the call. In hindsight, I should have just left that text alone and let her respond when she wanted. Then, this afternoon after I'm off of work, she calls and asks if I'm home because she wants to talk in person. She comes over and basically attempts to guilt trip me because she can't find affordable housing right now. I'm sure the rest of the country is just as insane as where I am, but the price of decent plus houses, apartments are just crazy right now. Well, due to her not having a guaranteed income and her informing me 2 deals fell through, she's feeling the heat. Remember, I'm still giving her $16,000 per a month. But, after her spiel, again I asked, what do you want from me? What is this about? What do you want me to do? Why are you here? She says she just wanted me to know what she's going through and how all of her time with the kids is spent looking for a place and nothing's affordable. Of course, I brought up some affordable appointments, but they apparently are not nice enough for her and she doesn't want the kids there. Cool. Apparently, I'm supposed to support both myself and put her up in a lavish 3-bedroom house. Such spoiled, entitled B. She is definitely trying to use the kids to manipulate me and insinuating I don't care about the kids' safety since I'm allowing them to live in one of these apartments. Oh, she also threw in the you have a lawyer so I'm going to get one. I just have one I paid to put our docs together, assuming this was going to be cordial. Insinuating that she's going to come after more spousal support so she can afford something nicer. Of course, I just got the judgment with our agreed upon spousal Monday afternoon and she hadn't signed it yet. I think the lawyer is an emotional bluff. She has no money for a lawyer right now. At that point I was just over it. She left and put the kids in the car. I told her to come back in the house and basically told her she has no right to come in here, raise her voice and get an attitude with me after everything she's done the last 2 months. I then told her she's no longer welcome in the house and I won't go into hers. Transfer of kids will take place outside. She said okay and left. Tonight, I was still fuming that she nerves to come in the house and act that way. So, I texted her telling her I've been nothing but cordial this entire time. I have yet to raise my voice or basically tell her anything negative despite having every reason to do so. I tell her she needs to quit trying to place guilt on my shoulders and to also look into getting a job with a stable income. She is a certified teacher but wants to chase the RE dream. Her response, easy for you to say. You're not worried about finding a decent place to live. Maybe I'm stressed out and shouldn't raise my voice, but you have the nice house and the nice car and I'm over here desperately trying to find a place to get settled. And maybe you think that's fair, but I just thought you should know since the kids need a place to live. What the hell? This is what I am dealing with. I am now officially done. Engaging with her will get nowhere unless it's me just blindly giving her whatever she wants. Even though technically this was about the kids, I am just done talking with her about anything than kids' health or logistics of the transfer. I really think she's bipolar, and I don't throw that term around lightly. She was extremely nice yesterday when I visited my daughter. I guess losing those 2 deals sent her over the edge. So, all that was 2 days ago. Yesterday morning she texted apologizing for everything, taking her emotional outbursts on me, and how I didn't deserve any of it, and that she will figure things out. I said okay thanks and told her the time I would pick up the kids that afternoon. Now for the bad news. She lives literally half-mile from my office. On the way to my office at around lunchtime, I just completely fell apart and decided I just wanted to go over there. No other reason than I was just thinking with the other head. I got to her place and we just talked for a bit. Nothing physical happened until we were getting ready to leave. I just took her and put her up against the kitchen counter and kissed her. Felt her up a bit, but that was it, as we had to go get our kid from school. It was completely stupid and I knew it was stupid from the minute I made the decision to pull into her driveway. What can I say? I'm human and gave it to my physical urges. If there's any positive, I'm glad I didn't initiate anything earlier because I'm sure it would have led to bonding. I am feeling like crap since last night. I hate that I did it and I hate how weak it makes me look. What kind of dude wants to hit up the woman that left his family for another guy? Oh, by the way, she says they're no longer talking. It just makes me look so weak in my eyes and hers, I'm sure. I felt like I was doing a reasonable job up until now, but I just balled everything up, threw in the trash can, and I'm starting all over. I don't even know why I had such an urge to go there. I should have been pissed after everything that happened the day before. Glutton for punishment, I guess. I really feel like I let everyone down and, in a way, turned my back on you all. I say that because you are taking time out of your lives to not only read my walls of text but give very solid advice. Forgive me, I will do my best to not F up in the future. On a positive note, found out my neighbor is doing BJJ, so I had my first class Tuesday and go again tonight. Good group of guys and something I've always wanted to do. Also, in talking to my neighbor about my situation, found out he went through the same thing and he was very understanding and accommodating. It's crazy how when you start talking to people about this, you find out how common it is. It's good to find another guy that can empathize with you. I started keeping a list of all the things she's done to hurt me, just as a reminder in these weak moments. I need to carry it in my pocket. It's tough. 36 years of being a nice guy is hard to break in 5 months. I keep answering when she calls because it's usually about the kids, but not always. Do I just come out and tell her straight up to not call unless it's about the kids? She'll probably laugh at me if I say that now after what I did yesterday, but I suppose better now than never. For example, she called me tonight and asked about an email she received and whether it was spam. I just answered her and hung up. But, yeah, I know I shouldn't be doing that. I guess I'll just have to be blunt with her. Need her to sign the court judgment with the agreed upon CS payments first, I suppose. Well, this happened quicker than I thought. She texted yesterday wanting to talk about what us getting back together would require and what it would look like. I agreed to meet to hear what she says. Shocker, right? But I'm totally on board with you. She didn't miraculously change overnight. I know more than she thinks I know, and I'm going to ask some questions. The second I get a lie or half-truth, then the convo is over and that will be that. I'm going to lay out some terms, not guarantee anything, and tell her a lot of what you listed. I'm going to ask her questions about the OM and her last contact. Then when she responds, I'm going to ask to see her phone and go through her calls, texts. If nothing lines up or she doesn't allow me to, then, poof, done. Even with all that, I'm making no guarantees. Like you said, I will have to see action, not words, over the course of a long period, to even consider starting a new relationship. Our other relationship is dead to me. My 5-year-old girl is hurting me. Her behavior is unlike anything before all this. I can't imagine what her little brain is going through. Anytime I tell her no or that she can't have what she wants, it's you don't love me, you hate me, etc. And I know it's all because she's feeling betrayed because she no longer has a family. That's what makes all this the hardest. I know I need to put my happiness and self-respect, but it's extremely tough when you have a little one crying out for her family. Have a few days. Any other recommendations on what I should ask? Add to my list of demands. STD test. Possibly a polygraph. I only say possibly because of inaccuracies. Full access to electronic devices. Leaves her current job or OM does, if he's still there. I see for her. Exposure to family, close friends. I am going through with the divorce. Any slim chance of a relationship will be new and post-divorce. Long ways from now though. I have no intentions of calling off the divorce. It will be made clear to her that we are still moving forward with divorce, and if there is anything between us it will be as new people, and I can't even guarantee I will want to be with that person when it's all said and done. It's got to start somewhere though, right? This meeting isn't about oh let's try it again, move back in and rug sweep. She's signing a year lease elsewhere. D is still in waiting. I really just want to feel her out and see how much work she is willing to put in on herself. I don't think I love her anymore. Do I miss her? Of course, but I have to ask myself what I miss about her. And do I love the person that did everything these last 2 months to me? Of course not. My brain just does this thing where it compartmentalizes the good and the bad, and I keep thinking about all the good things and pushing the bad to the side at times. Being out of the relationship has allowed me to more accurately reflect on it and come to the realization that it wasn't great at times and that I deserve better. It wasn't terrible, but there were some things I should have definitely not accepted and did more so for the sake of the family unit. My intention, if I decide to go through with this conversation, I want her to bare herself and reveal everything. If she slips up and tells me a lie, half-truth, or even if I get the feeling something is off, it's done. This is just more of an information gathering event and a way for me to gauge where she is. I'm just caught up on what type of affair this was. I went through all the phone records dating back months before she left, and not a single one had the guy's number. She didn't call him until she was out of the house. I spoke to her sister, and the sister said my wife mentioned a cute guy at work while she was staying at her sister's the first couple nights. I found out from a girlfriend that she called the guy to have time help her find a place. So, I'm not sure if this was a full-on monkey branch. It doesn't seem like it based off phone, text records, unless she was communicating via other methods before she left. But her phone was always unlocked and I was on it often, so I don't think it's likely. Could have been a workplace thing, though. It seems like it was more of a convenience thing that fell into her lap after he helped her find a place to stay. Who knows though, I'll probably never get the truth from her about that. She texted earlier today that she has to go look at her rent house tomorrow during the time the talk was scheduled for. I told her okay and that I will cancel the babysitter. Nothing else, and she didn't respond back about it. I guess she is playing a game where she wants me to ask her to meet at a different time. Make it look like I'm the one pushing for it. Who knows, it's pretty laughable at this point. Admittedly, laughable from my end too. On the plus side, I went play a poker game tonight that I haven't played since pre-lockdown and won 14-0, so that's nice. She's mad. I have to work storm restoration for Hurricane Ida and she wanted to stay with the kids at my house since she feels safer there. I told her no because she doesn't live here. Came pick up the kids this morning and didn't say a word to me. Everything is all good as long as she gets her way, what she wants. It's all so clear now. Simply wants all the comfort I can provide but wants to live her own life. It's like she still hasn't grasped it yet. Once divorce is finalized, does she think she would stay at my house in a situation like this? Well, why would she now? Of course, she tried to use the safety of the kids as manipulation. I just told her she's responsible for their safety while she has custody. It does feel quite empowering to simply say no because we all know that's hard for nice guys. I was foolish to ever think it would be amicable. There is no amicable with this person unless she's having her cake. The minute she gets a bit of pushback, she's in total B mode and not saying a word to me at the kids' pickup, which is fine, but funny and eye-opening. Minor update. Good news from the lawyer. He told me that any debts brought into the marriage, her student debt, that was paid off with community funds can be claimed when assets are split at the end. I have to file a reimbursement agreement. Huge news. Also, you all might get a kick out of this. The PGF, I have no idea if she took him back, messaged me the other day. So, what I know from crap is there was never a thing. I kind of spoke with him about it after you messaged and he said there was never anything with her and they are just friends. I mean, seriously, I didn't even respond. I could have told her my wife admitted to an affair. I never got any details of the extent, didn't care, ask. And I could have shown her the texts of my wife apologizing for betrayal or my wife on tape admitting to having feelings for him. But none of that matters. This girl is either just choosing to live in denial, really naive or dumb, or just doesn't care either because she isn't with him anymore. I guess my biggest struggle is finding it hard to believe she is that person. Despite the overwhelming evidence, I still don't know if she intentionally left me to hook up with this guy. Not that it really makes a difference. I keep thinking she was having a nervous breakdown and needed some time away, and this guy swooped in when he saw an easy opportunity. But again, whether it was premeditated or not doesn't matter. She was hooking up, talking to him while not sleeping at the house with her kids. Another rough morning. Today was my daughter's birthday. 5-yo. I went over STBX house to drop off a present to her. There was a fun jump, so I went jump with my 2 kids for 15 minutes. Daughter loved it. Then I left, bawled like a baby on the way home. Nothing to do with STBX, just not being able to spend the day with my kid on her own birthday is so crappy. I'll make it up to her next week though. Also, this afternoon my STBX texts I have some odd jobs I need done around here ASAP. I can pay you to do them if you're interested. I was completely flabbergasted. After everything that's happened, especially the last couple weeks, everything she's done to our family, me telling her twice I'm either her husband or the kid's dad, nothing in between. She has the nerve to ask me to go do some handyman work at her new house. I didn't even respond. I'm still in shock. She has to be the least self-aware person out there right now. Does she think that little of me? I guess I'm just wondering where it comes from. How can so much disrespect root just from being a nice guy? That's what I think about the most. I'm more interested in the psychology of it all. Part of me thinks she thinks I'm okay with everything because I haven't told her at all what I really feel about the entire situation, so I guess she's thinking I'm not in the least bit upset at her. So, she thinks I won't mind helping. What I need to come to terms with. Everything she says the last few months is pretty much all about her, making her feel better. When I think of it, she literally hasn't asked me a single question about me, my family, who she was very close to, work etc. Thanks for bringing that to the forefront. Oh yeah, she's already on board with the 2-party idea. She can't wait for her second party. She's so sweet. I got a haircut last night and when I showed up today she's like, "Daddy, you went to the hair salon. Your hair is gone, but it looks good." Meanwhile my wife is right there and didn't say anything. Damn it, I love that girl. I thought it would be getting better, but I think it's getting worse. This last week has been basically zero communication, so I guess it's finally hitting home that it's over. The other weeks I was getting those apology texts, so I guess in a way I sort of felt like I had the upper hand and was in control. Now, I guess it's a game of who caves first. I don't know why, but I just constantly have to keep telling myself all the evil crap she did to get to this point. I just keep thinking a few changes and a little more effort in X department and this could have all been avoided. It's really hard to put yourself back in the relationship 6 months, 1 year, 18 months ago and have an unbiased perception of how it was. I failed to mention, but she did call a few days later after she canceled, and it was, "I can't do this right now, my anxiety is through the roof." I know it will just turn into an interrogation, and then followed it up with, "Let's just put the kids first and continue on this path." Today she absolutely does not want to face the music and is using anxiety as an excuse to not talk about it. It's possible. She isn't the most tech savvy though. Still possible. I did check her phone 2 weeks before D-Day because something was off. I had no reason to think she was cheating, but let's just say I felt curious. Didn't find anything in emails, texts, call logs. So, who knows? So, I went to Cincinnati for a 5-day vacation to meet a friend. I got laid 3 times by the same chick in the same night. Kept me up until 5:30 a.m. Sunday, and I had to leave for the airport at 7. Needless to say, I got 0 sleep, and I've been nonstop since arriving home. Worth every minute of lost sleep. I honestly don't think I've ever gone 3 times in a night with anyone. I was so tired after the second time. I thought we were going to sleep, but she started playing with it again and asked if I wanted a trifecta. I told her I really needed some sleep, but she didn't agree and finished me. I should note, my friend was not the chick, just a buddy. I met the chick out at a bar, got to chatting, and she just got out of a divorce. We talked a lot the first night. I told her I'd hit her up the second night. She met us the second night, then came back to our place. We both knew what we wanted. Was nice just having everything out in the open, and she knew I was coming back home the next day. Definitely keeping her in my contacts should I return to Cincinnati. There was also a really cute bartender who told some mutual friends I was cute. Not sure why I didn't go talk to her. Probably too drunk. But overall, good to get some female attention. This past week has done more to help me move on than anything else. You know what else? When I got home Sunday, I got a "I miss you" text from the SBTX. It's almost as if she knew I got some strange over the weekend. Funny how that works. So, Friday was an interesting day. Wife calls and asks if I have time to talk. She shows up at the door and says, "I'm ready to come clean." She then proceeds to tell me everything from the beginning, where she first started to lose attraction, feel more of a brother-sister relationship to me, up to where she is now. She read the Women's Infidelity book I posted above, and apparently it opened her eyes to the why of what she's been feeling the last couple years. She basically just owned up to everything. Told me the timeline, which lined up with what I found through my investigation. She even volunteered to show me her phone with the messages telling him not to contact her anymore. She owned up to everything, apologized profusely, and wants to do what she can to make this work. I said if I were to even consider it, she would have to at the minimum expose herself to all close friends, family members, give me all her email, phone, SM passwords, do I see as a start, and leave her work, or him leave. She emailed me all her passwords yesterday and already called her one sister that didn't know, 2 close aunts, and a friend. She is about to cap at her agency when you keep 100% of your commission, so she asked if I can give her a month to do that, as she has a closing in next few weeks. She has until November 1st. I really didn't think it would happen that quickly and figured she'd balk at those things. So, I have no clue what to do now. I'm not sure I thought much about if she actually agreed to do that stuff. I have not made a decision yet. I truly don't know what to do. I feel like I know what I should do, but of course there's the well, maybe this situation could be different, despite the overwhelming evidence saying it'll probably turn out like 99% of other cases, on my other shoulder. She agreed to sign a post-nuptial should we get to that point. So, that's promising. If we do then she would then be entering into my frame, and there would be no financial threat to me should she leave in the future, or should I decide things aren't where they need to be and end it. Only problem is I spoke to lawyer about it, and in order to sign post-nup, we'd have to call off the divorce. If I do decide to attempt I think I would just let the divorce play out, and then decide whether to remarry her at a later time or just stay in a committed LTR, as I don't see the point of marriage anymore outside of tax benefits and health insurance. It's a real mind duck though. Just when I thought I was getting to a good space, it's like she knew I was with someone in Cincinnati. How does she blow me up the minute I get back? Suspicious timing, but I guess not surprising, as she got her first whiff of me getting out of town and her not knowing what I was doing. She is saying all the right things, which is to be expected, I suppose. Also had 2 dates this weekend that I canceled just because I'm not in the right headspace right now. I need to simmer on this. Won't make a hasty decision. Not seeing a therapist yet. I had 1 session with a social worker, but I'd like to get with someone more focused on marriage, infidelity issues. I need to make that a priority for sure. Plus, call him. The good times with her were really good. We had a good connection. She was a great wife for the majority of the marriage. She's smart, funny, empathetic. And of course, the family unity aspect is a big plus for me. Could I get all of that with a new partner? Sure, but I would still be worried about, will this person do what my wife did? I guess that's where counseling comes in though. Not sure if all of that outweighs the cons though. The constant looking over my shoulder I'm not sure I can put up with, even with having access to all of her devices, emails. Although with her agreeing to my stipulations, I feel like it can be a very low-risk, high-reward scenario, as I stand to lose much less with a post-nuptial in place. She was very candid with me in her telling of her story, which I appreciated. Cliff notes, she started losing attractiveness, building resentment, thought I only viewed her as a wife, mom, and nothing else. Didn't show her appreciation. She thought something was wrong with her, as she had everything she could ask for, home, kids, car, etc. Didn't know who to talk to about how she was feeling, was scared to say anything. She started talking to this guy at work, and they had a few things in common, and I guess created a spark. She thought, well, if I am interested in this guy, then I must not be with my soulmate, and it confirmed for her what she had been feeling for the last 1 to 2 years. She justified it in her mind by waiting to leave me to contact him outside of work hours. Lasted up until 3 weeks ago, where she says she woke up one morning and realized it was all crap and that soulmates weren't a thing and how foolish she'd been. Extremely apologetic and all that good stuff. Apologized for all the rants, threats of spousal support. She admitted to being in a daze and acting out of fear and resentment. She basically just owned up to everything and said she's completely out of line and will do whatever it takes to show me she is serious about us. So, good chance she's just blowing smoke up my ass, as I'm sure this is how most of these situations go. I will say we have both read the women's infidelity books and they are eye-opening. She couldn't believe how accurate it was describing what she felt. She says she has a newfound understanding of herself and why she felt the things she did. Part of her was scared to talk to anyone about it as she was embarrassed all this time. I consulted with him. He says there is statute in our law that provides for protection and separation of assets during a marriage, although you have to go in front of a judge. So, ultimately, it's up to a judge to decide. I guess we basically tell him our story and he determine if you get the green light. My wild night, she told me it's none of her business and she wouldn't ask if I was with anyone on that trip, so I left it at that. But I've had this urge to come clean, although I don't think there is much to come clean about. The marriage was over at that point. I think you're right though. During our all things should probably be on the table. She is taking action. Despite us agreeing to a November 1st deadline to leave her office, she's leaving next week after a closing she has. She has a few interviews lined up at other agencies. Agreeing to everything, made more calls to family members. Could it be pure desperation? Sure, but any true shot at R begins with action, and she's definitely taking action and not just verbalizing things I want to hear. Once a cheater, she'll always be known as a cheater. No escaping it. Is it possible people just make really stupid decisions that they ultimately regret? I know I've made tons of stupid decisions over my life, although I'd say nothing comparable to betraying a spouse. But I've made plenty of dumb judgment calls that I got very lucky to get out of unscathed, as I'm sure everyone on earth has. Is exercising forgiveness such a bad thing? Whatever happens, I don't want this to define me. I don't want to be angry over it. It's already consumed too much of my time and headspace. I just want to move forward. It's freaking hard with the kids involved. I keep flip-flopping on what to do. Everything you guys are saying is right. Then I hear her and I start thinking that this could be different. And I'll never know if she's telling me the truth about how things ended. She says she woke up one day and realized how much she screwed up, but there's no way to tell if that's true or if the OM dumped her. Really, that's just a small piece to this puzzle anyway. With all this being said, what makes someone worthy of R? A while back I asked if some of you don't believe in R at all, which seems to be the case for a lot in this thread. For those that do, what are the signs? It seems like my W is. She's saying all the right things, taking action, taking full responsibility, etc. She was scheduled to have a talk with her broker this morning about leaving the brokerage, and I beat around the bush for a bit but basically just told her that I don't feel 100% into it. Honestly, I don't want her making career decisions based on something I'm not 100% on board with. I don't know, I just can't get there. I told her I still don't fully believe the story about how things ended with her and and that she is still the person that lies and cheats, and that it doesn't change overnight. Harsh, but I was just being honest. I didn't want to come off as judgmental, but I basically just said I can't fix her, and it has to come from within. She had a messed up childhood, terrible father, and her mom had a revolving door of crap stepdads. Her mom had to lie, steal, and cheat just to support her 5 kids at 21, and it's what my wife grew up with. It's just so frustrating. The nice guy in me thought I could fix that. Some people just get dealt a crappy hand in life, and it pains me that I have to end this relationship because of her crap luck in childhood. So, we pretty much left it at that. Such a stupid situation. It's not something I want, but I just think it's necessary for the long-term health of everyone involved. I hate that she put everyone in this situation, but as comfortable as it makes me feel, I don't think taking her back is the right decision at this time. I guess I left out. She has been remorseful. She's expressed time and time again she's sorry for ruining our marriage. She handwrote a letter to my parents giving them the details and apologizing to them. I have yet to give the letter to them though, as I want to be sure about all this before doing so. Is it selfish of me to wonder what it would be like to date other women? That is in the back of my head too. Prior to her coming back, there was the Cincinnati incident, but I also had 2 dates lined up, which I canceled after hearing from wife. I texted the Cincinnati girl for a bit after our meetup. It was just nice to talk to someone. Now, I have that in the back of my head, the what if, so that is affecting my decision. I guess it's what people in affairs think, what if the grass is greener? I just feel like I owe it to myself to explore now, given everything that's happened. Part of me feels selfish to think that way. I see it as wanting to meet random women to satisfy my own desires instead of doing what's best for the kids and trying to make this work. Update is that we have continued to try this out. She sleeps over a couple times a week and we took a weekend beach trip a couple weeks ago. We had a good time. I just don't think I can get there, though. She's done everything you're supposed to do. Taken full responsibility, going to IC, reading books me, having conversation, etc. But I just don't feel like I think I'm supposed to feel with someone. Sure, it's comfortable, but I am not in love with this person at the moment. It's possible that's normal, but I just don't know if I feel like spending the time, years, to possibly get to where I need to be. The thing about R is it's a big gamble. I'm gambling lots of my time and the best years of my life on an unknown. It's possible it's worth it for the kids' sake, but I don't think I can take that on. Lots of things run through my head now. It's messed with my head so much I don't know if things are legit gripes or if it's just me being paranoid about what happened. I'll give a bit of a silly example. Last week she was over at the house and I just asked her to shower with me. What are you trying to do in there? Take a shower with you. I hate our shower, it's small. We can use the other bathroom. It's cold when I stand around while you shower. She could just say I don't like taking showers instead of making excuses first of all, but then there's the issue of just not being into what I like. Whether it's intentional or not, it's like I'm guilt-tripped into wanting a shower with my wife. I mean, that's completely normal, right? I think it's pretty intimate and fun. That was just a minor incident, but just a reminder of how things were and the stuff I put up with things because I thought I was supposed to for the sake of the family. And of course, I start thinking about, well, I bet she would have taken a shower with AP and all those fun thoughts. We had a conversation about things we like to do and how she doesn't really like doing the things I like. Again, things that bothered me in the past but I put up with. I am just starting to realize that we are probably just not compatible, and we probably both settled prior to marriage. It's tough to come to grips with, but I think it may be the truth. I'm battling with whether my gripes are legit or if I need to have different expectations. But I'm at the point where I have enough to deal with the infidelity. I want everything else to be perfect at this point, and I'm not getting those vibes. She asked to come over tonight, and I told her I just need some time alone to think, so that's where we are, taking it one day at a time. The other day she even brought up the still letting the divorce go through because she wants to be financially stable and not be with me for financial stability and for me to not feel like I'm in a contract with her, which is probably a good thing. But of course, I'm overanalyzing it and now think that she might not be too sure of what she wants and will bail at the first sign of tough sledding. Who knows? As for how it ended, I've asked several times and she just says she woke up one day and realized how stupid she was being and how her emotional switch just flipped. No way to verify that. I could ask him, I suppose, but I don't really want to go that route. I've gone through her phone, but there's no trace of their convos. She was talking with him through an app and it doesn't keep conversation backups. So, it's just her word at this point in regard to that. If that's even true, that honestly just kind of scares me. What's to keep her switch from flipping again in the future and decide this is not what she wants? The answer is nothing. It could easily happen just as it already has. I realize that, and that is just another factor in me just deciding that this probably isn't worth it. I think the only way this could ever work is if we go our separate ways at the moment and just truly live alone for a while, years if I'm being realistic. Her work on herself, and if the cookie crumbles and we both find ourselves single at a point in the future, then we could truly start all over, because what we are doing now isn't starting over. It's just sort of continuing the last relationship with a bunch of caveats. Ultimately, the ball is in my court now, and this is a decision I can't take lightly. It's very likely if I end it, then that's it for good. The finality of it all is a lot to shoulder, as this decision has a ripple effect over many lives for decades to come. I don't want to rush it, but I also can't drag it out. A few months later. As for the relationship, here's where I am. I plan to end it tomorrow. I just don't think I can do this anymore. It's one of the toughest decisions I have ever had to grapple with. It's not that she hasn't done everything I've asked the last few months. She has. I truly believe she is remorseful. She said all the right things. The easy, comfortable thing to do would be to stay, but I find myself not happy when she's around. It's just constantly weighing on me and I am exhausted from carrying the burden. I know I shouldn't, but now that the ball is in my court, I feel responsible for what will happen to my kids because of the divorce. In a way, I wish she would have never come back, just for the fact that I wouldn't have to shoulder the burden of putting my kids through this. Now that she's come back and I'm choosing to end it, I feel somewhat to blame. That probably sounds silly, but it's just the way I feel. I've gone back and forth, reading dozens and dozens of articles on how kids respond to divorce and whether or not you should stay for the kids. Part of me feels selfish for doing this, but I just have to go with my gut, and my gut is telling me not to do this right now. Mistakenly, about 2 weeks ago I committed to her and coming out to my parents with my decision and allowing her to move back in at the end of February. Well, even when talking to my parents about it, I didn't feel I was doing it for the right reason, and certainly wasn't happy or excited about it. I've had anxiety about it every night since. I know she has no idea what's coming. I'm just hoping she takes it well, understands, and allows us to have a successful co-parenting situation for the kids right now. I could definitely regret it. That's just another thing I've had to consider. All I know is that I am not at peace with the decision and don't want to prolong this any further. I agree, there has been lots of indecisiveness. I have never had to make a decision of this magnitude. I can't deny what my gut is telling me though. So, for better or worse, I'm going to bring some closure to the situation and live with the results. I was foolishly waiting on some aha moment to happen to tell me I was making the right decision, but that has not happened. That was probably more of a reason to keep putting off the decision. My comment, not being excited about moving forward with her, is pretty huge. Best to back off and move on. The anxiety thing is going to keep popping up if you do not address it now.